Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again for another First Impression Fridays, and today I'm going to be talking about two fragrances from Desir, and that is Mizu and Tsuki, so stay tuned for that. And if you like First Impressions, Cologne comparisons, fragrance reviews, and top 10 lists, hit that subscribe button for more great content. So I tried Desir a while ago. I tried Chiara, which is a high-end oud fragrance, which has the Chiara oud or Chiara wood in it. And I gotta be honest, I wasn't super impressed. I'm not a huge fan of oud, so maybe the nuances were lost upon me, but I did want to give the brand another try, and they do have some less expensive options. I mean, that's like, I think it's like $1,500 for 30 mil or something crazy, right? Some really, really crazy price. They do have some more reasonable niche priced fragrances. And as I recall, both Tsuki and Mizu sounded good, sounded interesting. Want to try them out. I'm going to jump right into them. So Mizu, I think I'm going to go Mizu first. Mizu is Japanese for water. I think this was a bit of a fresher fragrance. I don't recall what any of them were with respect to notes or, you know, what they were supposed to smell like. I just remember looking through the samples that were available at Lucky Scent and picking out a couple that did sound interesting to me. So Mizu. So that does actually open up very, very nice. It has a really, really great citrusy element. You know, I want to say it's something like lemon. There's something a little bit sweet, almost a little bit candied there. I definitely would guess lemon for the citrusy. It's really nice. It does have a bit of a flowy feel, so this of course does, at least right now, seem to avoid the trapping that a lot of lemon fragrances have, which is it doesn't smell like pine sol. So a lot of, because lemon is so popular in cleaning supplies, you know, I know everyone says this about Club Doing Intense Man, but I do find even expensive fragrances that make use of lemon can certainly have this problem. So it does have this nice freshness to it. There is something behind that. It's a little bit more resinous, a little bit more thick. But it's really underneath this nice, somewhat semi-sweet, fresh, almost candied lemon opening. Really, really nice, actually, though. Very enjoyable, very pleasant, very uplifting, kind of a fresh fragrance. A little bit late for fresh fragrances, but, you know, I mean, I still have, there's still some warm days here, and depending on where you are, of course, there's still going to be some nice warm days. All right, guys, so now we're going to try out Tsuki. Again, I don't really remember much about this fragrance, although Tsuki, as I recall, means moon, so I'm not sure what to expect from this one. But, you know, let's give it a try. I'm going to put a pretty generous amount on here. That's got to be about 1 mil, or at least a little bit more, and see what... Wow, okay, that is projecting quite a bit. That is really, really minty. Very crisp, very fresh. There is something else under there, though, that's giving me a bit of a slightly darker green vibe. Very crisp, minty, with something that I almost want to say it's a little bit herbal or something to that effect. It does have this sort of slightly darker green feel to it under that crispness. So very, very fresh. I do like the minty aspect, and the nice thing about this is it is definitely a little bit different. So to me, you know, if you think of something like Sedley that has mint in it, it has this nice crisp feel more than anything else. Or if you think of Viking, it also gives this nice sharp, cooling freshness. This has a little bit of that crispness, but the overall smell doesn't come off the same way as either one of those kind of fragrances. And, you know, it doesn't remind me of something like a Crypto Mint or whatever, where it has, again, another very strong minty note, but it does have this really interesting minty vibe. Very slight feel of toothpaste, I actually want to say, unfortunately. So it is a nice mint, but there is this is always a risk as well as like with lemon, is that I find that there is always the probability or the chance that it ends up smelling a little bit like toothpaste just because mint is used in that so much. But there is definitely something in there that's giving it a very, a little bit of a darker feel. So it has a very slight toothpastey vibe at times so far. But definitely something in there that's giving it a little bit of robustness or a little bit of thickness, along with that fresh, crisp vibe that it has. Okay, I'm going to go back to Mizu. Mizu, which again is water. Hopefully it's developed a little bit. The citrus elements usually don't last that long. So there is actually a very nice, fresh, almost smooth, almost watery kind of feel. I do get the name Mizu from this. It does have this really fresh, I don't know if it's like some kind of aldehyde or something. It just has this very fresh, almost like a clean, watery feel to it that really is very interesting. The lemon, I'm going to say, is toned back already quite a bit. That's not uncommon for citruses, especially if it's a natural. That's really cool, actually. So in the opening, I'm going to, right on the first rip, there are a lot of fragrances that I feel like have this sort of kind of candied, citrusy feel. But very quickly, this becomes something much different. Like, it still has a little bit of that sweetness, a little bit of that candied feel, but there is something very clean, fresh, interesting about it. I do like that one a lot. Definitely developing into a nice, interesting way, and I would like to see how this one develops a lot further, because it definitely has something very different going for it. Really, really nice. I think it's an easy, fresh wear, of course. All right, going back to Tsuki, let's see how it's dried down a little bit, how it's changed. I still get that very fresh mintiness. The toothpaste aspect, that slight toothpastiness that I was feeling, completely gone. Has a very nice, fresh, airy mint. But like I said, there is something giving this a little bit of additional greenness. I do actually pick up a slight citrusy vibe to go along with this one. It's very, very faint, and it's kind of unusual that I pick it up now, as not as much in the opening. The opening was very, very strongly minty, with a little bit of a dark greenness to it. There is a hint of a citrus here. It is still very light. There is a little bit of an airiness about it, and it's interesting that that darkness that I felt in the opening has kind of sifted off, but there is still a nice sort of base that's providing a little bit of character and a little bit of, a slightly greenish vibe. Overall, this is really nice, and I think if you like mint, you're probably going to like this one. And it does, like I said, have a little bit of that airy freshness. I think both of these fragrances are really suited for very similar occasions, so they are both fairly fresh overall. The quality is there with both of them, so they do feel like quality fragrances. I mean, they're both niche fragrances, so you would hope with the prices you're paying that they do come across smelling like quality ingredients and quality notes, and of course, you do find that here. I just think they're both a little bit more casual, but that is kind of, generally speaking, the feeling I get of most fresher fragrances to me. You can have, I think, formal fresh fragrances like Xerjoff. Renaissance to me does feel like a lot more of a formal fresh fragrance. Fresh fragrances in general seem to be more day wear, casual wear, in my opinion, the way I feel about them. Because they're just easy to wear. They're not very, not to say they're not complex, but they're usually very digestible fragrances. And both these do definitely have that quality to them. I think they're going to be both unique. They're both quite a bit different, although I gotta say Tsuki to me is coming off a little bit more unique. Main reason being that sort of sweet, lemony vibe that I did get with Mizu is something that I have smelt in a lot of other fragrances. So points to Tsuki for that, although Mizu also does come off definitely as its own fragrance. Definitely smells a lot different than, you know, other fragrances that I've smelled, but again, does have that sort of candied lemon feel. But in either case, I think they're both really, really nice. Similar occasions, spring, summer, definitely worth checking out. And I think, like I mentioned, these ones are much more reasonably priced, although definitely sample them first, see what you think about them. You know, it's actually very hard to rank these ones. There are things that I like about Mizu a little bit more in some respects. I really, really like mint fragrances, so I want to say Tsuki, but there is something about the base that's starting to come out in Mizu that I really enjoy a lot more. It does give it a little bit more depth or character. It has this nice kind of comforting base. Very hard to really, you know, rank either of these. Both these are good in my opinion. I do like both of these more than Chiara. Into the upcoming seasons, these are not the right fragrances. I think these would have been better to check out during spring, summer, as that's definitely the occasion for both of these. But that being said, you know, I like them both. They're both really, really nice and interesting fragrances. I might check out more from Desir in the future moving ahead just to see what else they have. Anyways, guys, that is it for this one. I'm going to cut the video there. Have you tried anything from Desir or another Japanese fragrance brand? I don't think there's that many. So if you've tried any, leave a comment down below what you think of those fragrances. Or, you know, what are some good fragrances to check out from either Desir or another Japanese brand. Let me know. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.